Let's get more analysis and bring in Peter Zalmayev from the Eurasian Democracy Initiative. Peter, thanks for being with us here on France 24. We always appreciate your time. Peter joining us live from Kyiv. Good to see you, sir. Odessa struck, 3 killed there. Given the status of Odessa and how popular it was to both sides, there's a real symbolism about this.
Well, indeed, and the symbolism is that Russia has claimed these territories in the south of Ukraine, in the east of Ukraine, as historically Russian lands. Odessa is traditionally, as you know, a Russian-speaking city, founded by the Empress Catherine the Great. And that's where actually a lot of the sympathy for Russia could be found back before at least 2014, but even after the initial Russian aggression against Ukraine, it sort of persisted. Russia's influence, Russia's culture has predominated in Odessa, and now Odessa has been sort of at the front lines as a city that is being shelled and bombed regularly, and so you have a veritable renaissance of Ukrainian culture. A lot of Odessans are switching to Ukrainian, with Vladimir Putin's actions against the city, I just do not believe that we will see a resurgence of any sort of sympathy for Russia in the coming generations after what Vladimir Putin has done to that city.
Peter, as you were speaking to us, we were showing the images of Odessa. Let's show everybody now the images from today from Kramatorsk. Shelled overnight, homes damaged. Again, another story being told there. We understand in the Donbas area there have been something like 3 people killed. That obviously could be a larger figure given the scale of what Russia is doing.
That's actually my native region. I'm originally from Donetsk, and obviously it pains my heart to see that this region is being destroyed, and I'm not sure that it will be ever built back to its former glory in our lifetimes. What we're seeing with these actions of Vladimir Putin, a lot of them are senseless. They don't target military objects, whether through the outdated Soviet weaponry. Some of these missiles are far from precise, or simply because Vladimir Putin has found it kind of expedient to continue this terror against civilians, simply because there's not enough to report from the battlefields. The Russian army is stuck in defense positions. Ukrainian army is on the offensive and has the initiative. And Kyiv, which is the actual, target that Vladimir Putin wants to go after, and he's tried, as you know, all of May. Kyiv suffered over 20 shellings. But all the air defenses that we have gotten there now, the bulk of them are defending the capital. And so Vladimir Putin is having to resort to these attacks elsewhere in the areas that are less defended.
Peter, the reported setback in Zaporizhia province for Ukraine's forces a couple of days ago. Russian commentators, this is where the question of truth or fake comes into it. Russian commentators celebrating what happened at Mala Tokachka. Can you throw any light on that for us?
Well, first of all, you have to take everything and anything that comes out of Russian propaganda with a grain of salt. Most of it has been lies. Initially, if you remember, a week ago, the Russians reported a lot of Ukrainian Western-provided weaponry, including Leopard tanks and the Bradley fighting vehicles, as destroyed, to the tune of dozens and dozens. Well, the Pentagon has finally confirmed that that's been kind of a lie, that the figures are grossly exaggerated. And what you refer to that story, what we're seeing is Ukraine has in fact captured a lot of these population centers, mostly villages, has reclaimed at least 100 square kilometers of territory. So it has the initiative, and it is, it's been in Russia's interest to first announce that this blitzkrieg by the Ukrainians has started and then failed. Well, the Ukrainians never claimed it was going to be a blitzkrieg. By all accounts, it's going to be a hard and bloody slog to last through the summer and beyond. And so we just have to be patient and not fall for the ruse by the Russians, who claim that that offensive has already failed.
Indeed, I think your assessment of the counteroffensive is very realistic, and it reflects what other military analysts have been saying to us. Peter, you and I first spoke, of course, when the invasion first happened. We then met in Kyiv, marking the anniversary of that invasion. We're now moving on again. Do you think this will work? Do you think Ukraine's resolve will last? Can this continue as it is?
That's obviously a big question. I can just give you the figure: 80%. 80% of Ukrainians in the 16th month of war have continued to reject any sort of territorial concessions to the Russians. That figure may obviously change, but just to go by what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, Ukrainians are patient. They have adjusted their expectations for this particular counteroffensive without obviously Western resolve to continue to support Ukraine. We will have a very different picture. But we're hearing also very positive signals from Western capitals, from NATO leadership. And I'm very hopeful that at the NATO summit in Vilnius that's coming up, Ukraine will be giving security guarantees that will, and an eventual promise, maybe even with a concrete date of NATO membership, that will, if not a date, then concrete benchmarks, that will send a signal to Vladimir Putin that the West has staying power because Ukrainians have nowhere else to go. So it takes two to tango. Vladimir Putin has to understand that he is, counting on sitting out the West will fail.
Peter Zalmayev of the Eurasian Democracy Initiative, thank you so very much for joining us live from Kyiv. Pleasure to see you, and do take care of yourself. Thank you very much indeed.
Sure.
We continue, of course, to watch for all developments on the situation in Ukraine. And thanks again to Peter Zalmayev.